Welcome to One Happy Thing, the podcast where three best-selling novelists, Maddie Dawson, Carrie Schaefer, and Jennifermoorman, explore the silver linings, bright moments, and everyday magic that inspire a kinder, more creative world. One happy thing at a time.
Well, welcome to the One Happy Thing podcast. I am Jennifermoorman, and I am so excited to be here with the always magical, always wonderful Carrie Schaefer and Maddie Dawson. And I'm really looking forward to today's conversation because I'm in this season right now, and I am pretty confident that the two of y'all have also been in this season. Maybe you're in it right now. And it makes me believe that there's a lot of us that have been here. So I'm calling this the in-between waste of time, maybe the invisible working season. And so this is when, have you ever felt like your life is on pause? Like everybody around you is moving forward, they're getting things done. Maybe they seem happier, more successful, more accomplished, all the things. And maybe you also feel like nothing impressive is happening in your life right now. Can the two of you relate to that?
I can relate to that, but I have to say, you are an amazing person doing so many things. I didn't know you were feeling that way.
I'm just going to say, if this is the in-between season for you, Jennifer, I don't want to see you in the full-on mode.
Okay, to be fair, our in-between seasons all look different and they feel different. So for me, yeah, and I'll give you more details, but this is like a waiting season for me as well, and waiting as in I have a manuscript on submission. Okay, I'm a writer, so I'm going to throw all this into the author world for a minute. And this also relates to any areas in our lives where we're waiting on something. And it can feel, if you let it can feel like nothing is happening. So, recently, I don't know when you're going to listen to this podcast, but when we're recording recently, I've had a book that has come out. I've been on book tour. It's been very, very active, but I'm off of book tour now. And so it becomes this season where I'm working on new things and I'm doing new things. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not working. It means that in a way, I'm working on things that I can't see the end of yet, right? So it can feel like nothing is happening. I have a manuscript on submission, which means there's not a publisher that has grabbed it up yet. And so I can't see the future. I can't see the end. It can feel like nothing is happening. I know I already said that because you can't see all the moving pieces. So for that part, can y'all relate to that?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I sounded like I was disrespecting what you were saying.
You
I didn't mean to at all. I know how that feels. And when you're coming off of such a big thing like book tour, it's a little bit like being postpartum, there's just this drop off of activity. You don't know what your day is supposed to look like anymore.
Exactly. It is. And it's like a wedding, right? All this planning goes into the wedding. You've got months and months, maybe years. I don't know how you do your wedding. And then all of a sudden you get married and you're like, oh, okay, well, I've been so busy all these days. And so really what I wanted to focus on is the idea that waiting period where people can get restless, they can get discouraged, they can feel like it's not working. It's not working. But it's right. It's like nothing is going to come from this. But you're actually in that space where, what if the waiting is the work? What if we're learning how to pause on purpose? Because it always, to me, makes me think of when we plant seeds. We're in a season of planting. We can't see anything growing yet, but the roots have to form and they have to get strong before anything can come up out of the ground. And just having that faith and that ability to live in the pause and live in that in between, because also, what if the pause is a protection? What if I'm not ready for the next step? And so that's why the next step hasn't arrived. Or what if it's misaligned? What if I'm so desperate to have something happen that I pick something that's misaligned? So that's kind of what I wanted to focus on, in that how we find that peace and that acceptance and that trust and faith in the middle of our in-between, where what I'm calling the invisible work season. Maybe you're writing a draft, maybe you are planting, maybe you're, editing or planning for something, or you're healing or you're praying, but we can't see the fruits of our labor yet.
Right. Right. That's so true. I always think of it like a car trip too. Like let's say you're on the way to the airport and there's a sign that tells you you are on the right road to the airport, and then there's not another sign for a very long time. Are you still on the way to the airport? You start to lose like that faith.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're me, you're probably not still on the road to the airport because you've taken a wrong turn somewhere. But
Exactly. Exactly. If you're me,
that's
that's it.
okay. It's a scenic detour. I can totally relate, Jennifer. I have been in this place actually for a while now. To be really honest, I've been out of contract for a long time with publishing, and so I don't have a publisher right now. And my last book I did independently, and now I have one that I'm waiting for my agent to have a look at. Will anybody, will we sell it? Will it go anywhere? Will anyone ever read it? I don't know. And so the waking up every day and finding the creative momentum, I guess, the faith to go forward and keep working when you're in that place is where that challenge mostly lies for me. Is like how do I believe enough to keep moving forward rather than just, giving up and doing something entirely different with my life that has more immediate feedback, I guess.
That's true. That's where 9-to-5 jobs, they are annoying, but they have their structure to it. You know what you're supposed to do. This job takes any creative endeavor. It's so much of it's happening underground, just like the seeds, just like you said.
Yeah. And healing, I'm just going to bring up like the physical healing or even emotional healing. That is similar in a waiting for the healing for you to be completely feel whole or healed. And that can feel like it's never happening. But, this is such a silly reference, but it always makes me think of the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain and that we can't see all the things that he's doing. And I've heard the reference of us or the comparison of us being on a chessboard. And so let's say, Carrie, I'm going to use you an example, or me. I mean, I'm on submission too, in that we can't see all the pieces that need to move into place in order to get us to get checkmate. And so because we can't see them moving, we can't see outside of this narrow, limited scope that we're looking at. We think, oh, what if it's not working? Or God, am I doing the wrong thing? And yet there's all these other pieces that I feel like if they could talk to us, they'd say, no, I'm coming, but I'm coming from over here. And this guy has to move and this lady has to move and you have to move. And it's this game we're playing on this big board and we're just looking at our one piece and, but like healing and praying and these things that we know people do outside of careers, that waiting space. But, it can be such a, like, just a growth season of you planting deep, deep roots, because what if what's coming is so big? You need amazingly deep roots to be able to withstand and be strong enough for whatever is coming to be prepared for it. And I certainly don't want my big dream to come through when I'm half prepared, because I'm not going to handle it well.
Yeah,
right.
And I don't want to be showing up with my pants off, for my big dream sequence, my dance off. So I want to have all the pieces that I need, but it's challenging, for all of us, even people like us that have really uplifted spirits and we're jumping out of bed and doing the victory arms, and it's still, you're like, wow, am I still heading to the airport, Maddie? Am I on the right road, or did I do something wrong? And it's just, a lot of times we get impatient and we want to turn off. We want to turn around and go back, or,
Right. I have a couple things. So one, did you guys ever read the Frog and Toad books at all when you were? Yeah. So I'd encountered them with my children. So there's this Frog and Toad are friends, and anyways, they're funny little books for early readers. And Frog and Toad, it's like Toad, I believe they plant a garden, and every day he digs up the seeds to see if they're growing yet. Right? Yeah. Well, they're not gonna grow if you're digging them up all the time. Or here's another one. This is the thing that Maddie has said to me before. When I have a book out and I'm worrying about sales and I'm over focused on how many copies have I sold now, and Maddie will say, maybe you need to not take its temperature quite so often.
It's so true.
Forever.
And I think the trick is to keep moving and not get too hung up on the is it working, is it working, is it working, so that we're doing I think we mentioned Abraham in our last episode too, and I doing the next happy thing, the next thing that feels good, and that's why we're the One Happy Thing podcast, right? I mean, it's like finding the next step that feels right, that feels aligned, that feels good, that feels healthy, and do that thing. And maybe you don't have to see all the way.
And maybe it's taking a nap. Maybe it's going to the movies in the middle of the day. It doesn't have to be sitting with your fingers on the keyboard. It can be something that you don't expect it to be. I read somewhere, and I love this idea, that time is a construct that humans created to keep everything from happening all at once.
That's probably true. We couldn't handle that.
You couldn't handle it if you had this book tour and then you had another thing and then another thing and then another thing. You'd be burned out in no time. But it is hard. It's so hard to hold that faith and know that somewhere people are reading your work, they're thinking about it, they're talking about it. They might be buying it right this second, and you'll get the call tomorrow.
But
Yeah.
even if they're not,
Even if you're not, right.
even if they're not, and I think this is really important, and I want to take a moment to say this, because I really believe this, and it's something I remind myself of honestly, not just honestly, but often. The act of creating, the very act of creating makes a difference in the world, in you, in everything, whether anybody reads it, whether it goes anywhere, whether the book is done, whether it's published, whether it goes anywhere, whether it's outwardly successful, quote, I'm doing air quotes, or not successful. It's still the act of creating is an act of faith. It is an act of joy. It's an act of rebellion, really, in some ways, I've been thinking lately, against all of the ugly, dark stuff out there. And so doing it just because is another thing that I've been getting really big on lately. I'm calling this the year, some people pick a word for the year. I have two this year, and it's creative audacity. And I'm really, really all about that.
I love that. And I also love what you're saying about just create something, because it's never wasted. And I started this episode talking about the in-between waste of time, and that's a joke, because nothing is wasted. The things that we do, if you are praying, writing, drawing, and you don't know what's going to happen at the end, it doesn't matter, but none of it is ever wasted. And so some thoughts I have for how you can maybe reframe it or reshape this period is, instead of saying I'm stuck, you could say I'm building, or I'm planting seeds, I'm growing. And then, instead of that idea, nothing is happening. Well, if we use the seed analogy, things are happening underground. There is growth happening in the winter, even if we can't see it underground. And, celebrating the small wins. So maybe we're waiting on, submitting a manuscript to me is a big thing, right? If that win that comes through, it's going to be a big win. But what about all the little wins? And they're not even little, they're all special and they're all meaningful. Whatever that might be, like you said, what am I creating today? What am I loving? What are my dogs doing? Or the little wins can be what? Give me a small win. I went to the grocery store and I found my favorite apple. Whatever it might be.
I cooked a meal that I loved.
Yeah. Finding a book I love to read, like somebody else wrote, and enjoying that. There's a win.
Right.
So, we would love to hear your little wins, your big wins that you're waiting on. And we would love to know how you have felt during the waiting season and how you have turned it into this in-between space into something that is meaningful and strengthening, and just the faith and the perseverance that we have during these seasons when we can't see what's coming, but we know whatever it is, it's going to be great. And the things that we do to, confirm that over and over again every day. And the friends we have, like Carrie and Maddie, I have, that if I'm feeling like I'm struggling, they're the people I can call to say, hey, I need a little bit of help here. I need to persevere or whatever it is. And they're always there. And so we would just love to hear how you're doing, how you're handling it, how you can help us handle our seasons even stronger and even better. You can find us, you can email us, onehappythingpodcast@gmail.com. We're all on social media. We actually love to hear from you. We love to get your emails. We love to get your messages. So don't be shy. Y'all reach out to us and let us know what you're doing in your in between. So while we're waiting, we can read your messages. But thanks for being here with us.
We all have to help each other because we're all in it together, right? Absolutely.
Well, thank y'all for being with us today, and we look forward to talking with you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to One Happy Thing. We hope today's episode brought a little extra joy your way. If you loved it, help us spread happiness by subscribing and leaving a review. And join us next time for One Happy Thing.
Yeah, yeah.